Okay, I have done the spoiler-free version of Power of the Doctor, but I think it may be time to talk about it since most of us have seen it by now. However, if you have not seen Power of the Doctor, I would encourage you to watch my other video on this and wait until you've seen it before you go further in this video. So we'll be back in a second. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and in Power of the Doctor, of course, the big talk about for people who've seen it is that David Tennant becomes the 14th Doctor, when everybody was, the rumors were going around, but they kept dispelling those rumors, and it sounded like something was just because David Tennant was planning to be in one of the specials or more of the specials coming up in next November or so. But that wasn't the case. We see David Tennant back, and it has been clarified that he is indeed the 14th Doctor, not just the 10th coming back. But there's some things that are different about that. First of all, his clothes regenerated along with himself, and this is and not exactly the same clothes that he wore as he was the 10th Doctor. It is a slightly different pattern. I think he had stripes on his suit before. Now they're kind of a block pin pattern, and some other little things like that. But what we find is that they knew better than to change his clothes when he regenerated, because even earlier in the episode, when the Master forces a regeneration of Jodie's doctor, he ends up wearing what she was wearing in the way that they've always done regenerations. So in doing this to David Tennant, it would appear to me that there is something else going on. This is not a normal regeneration, and not just abnormal because we have an old face come back. They've already established that when Tom Baker appeared in The Day of the Doctor, that sometimes you'll find that you've had so many faces that you'll go back and revisit some of them, only the favorites. And so that gave kind of the canonical permission for them to bring David Tennant back. Now, in reality, he is going to be back for 3 specials next year, and then will be replaced at about Christmas time, we think, by Ncuti Gatwa, who will then be the 15th Doctor. So that's already set up. But how he became the 14th Doctor is going to be something that's no doubt going to be part of the speculation that goes on until the special in November 2023 will address. Because we do know that there is going to be a revival of an old nemesis of the first Doctor, which is the Cosmic Toymaker, who has the kind of power that could cause a different kind of regeneration. They established way back when that the Time Lords weren't the most powerful species in the universe, and the Cosmic Toymaker did have some advantages over that. So we know that he's going to be used in the specials upcoming, and so that's no doubt going to be part of the mystery of how he got that face. You know, it was something that they asked that question when Peter Capaldi took over. Why did I get this face? Why was that important? And there's some people who have kind of retrofitted that to say that, well, he wanted to point out to himself that he was, I don't know what. Honestly, I think they just came up with something. I think they wanted to use the actor and did, and thought they would come up with something. And even in the first episode, it acted like it was going to be one of the minor story arcs as to establish why the Doctor looked like one of the people that he encountered in his travels. But they never really addressed it. So what we have here, though, they look like they really will in this. Now, in this episode, while we're talking about other things that go on in here, we find that the Master has been very busy running between several different time periods and places in order to establish himself as kind of a Rasputin character. In fact, he kind of takes the place of Rasputin. If you know anything about the real world person, he did have a certain amount of mystery about him, and that was something that they were able to play into in this episode. The Guardians of the Edge of Existence is another thing that's kind of interesting, and this Edge of Existence is in the interim between when a doctor regenerates and moves into the new body, and so that was an excuse for them to be able to bring back people like Sylvester McCoy by bringing in these former doctors, basically played by the actors who are still young enough to be able to put up with the production schedule. I don't know why Tom Baker wasn't in it. He is still alive and still working as far as I understand, but perhaps they just couldn't meet his price. Anyway, we have this Guardians at the Edge of Forever in order to be able to establish that the Doctor is someone that exists outside the actual plane of existence from time to time and can have some effect when it's necessary. So it's an interesting way of bringing in former actors to play the Doctor without them having to be the age they were when they left the show. And this has been something that's been a challenge, to take an older actor and try to put makeup on him to make him look like he was the age of when he was actually doing the show. So this is a good story type way of doing it. I thought it was well done. So we had the McCann Doctor, the Davison Doctor, the McCoy Doctor, and the Colin Baker Doctor that were all seen in this twilight zone, really, and then were able to appear to Tegan and Ace in order to incite them on. Although there's been some discussion that Sylvester McCoy's Doctor and Ace was not necessarily a loving relationship, but rather one in which he kind of manipulated her into doing what he needed done. So kind of an interesting change in the general character of the McCoy Doctor. We also saw the Joe Martin Doctor, who, of course, appeared only since Jodie Whittaker was the Doctor herself, and as a William Hartnell Doctor in the storyline. Once again, I am impressed with how she can take a scene and have only a couple of lines and steal the scene. She's an incredible actor, and I wish that they had considered her as the next Doctor and changed the story a little bit, that she didn't come before but came after. Then they brought back Graham, and in the very end, Ian Chesterton, that's the character's name. The actor that played him is like 96 now, but they had him there, and I thought that was a very nice touch. He was one of the first companions, and that is nice that they were able to put him in this kind of encounter group that they had. And they even found a way to bring back Vendor, who was also used in the Jodie Whittaker era as someone who was affected by the Timeless Child storyline. So it was nice to be able to bring all those people together. But once again, it's another kind of situation that they've had through the entire series of Jodie Whittaker's adventures, in that they put so many other people on camera, there's almost not enough time left for the Doctor. And even at that, though, I thought that she did a very good job at that. we don't even really need to go into the Cyber Masters and the Daleks and all of that. They were basically just somebody to fight against. And while it's interesting that the Cybermen in this generation can regenerate and come back to fight, it added a little bit of adventure to it. But the more interesting parts of it, I think, was to come back and visit some of the characters that we've gotten to know over the years. And if we've watched this for very long, we would be able to tell what the personalities of Tegan and Ace were, for instance, and understand that they knew their roles from way back and were able to recreate them in a more mature body, shall we say. The thing about the Metal Planet and how they were able to do it and why it was a threat and how they destroyed it and all that kind of stuff really doesn't matter much. And we all know that the Master probably did not die on that Metal Planet as they destroyed it. He always finds a way to get loose of it because he's too good a character to throw away. For one reason or another, they'll find a way to bring him back, either by the actor that played him this time, who does a very good job of playing kind of an unhinged Master, or another actor that they choose to do later. Oh, I did want to say something about how the Master did his own version of the Doctor after he regenerated her into him. He is then wearing her hoodie, Peter Davison's celery, Tom Baker's scarf, Sylvester McCoy's sweater vest, David Tennant's tie, possibly somebody else's pants. I couldn't tell you who. But all of these things were kind of a nice little inside joke on the Doctor's sense of style. So I'd like to know what you think about this further after you've had a chance to look it over and think about it more and enjoy it perhaps in a second viewing. And tell me what you think about that in the comments below. And until next time, don't go far.